All right, let's rock out some music history. Oh, prove up bass!
Oh yeah, down the hairspray and step away from the mirror, you beautiful creatures of the night. Welcome back to Music History with Joey. I'm your host, Joey, coming at you from the neon-soaked corner of the rock and roll universe. Today we're taking a trip back to 1985, a time when the pants were tight, the hair was high, and the music was getting weird in all the right ways. We're dissecting a track that's so damn sexy, it should probably be illegal in at least 40 states. I'm talking about the Cult and their absolute sonic atom bomb, She Sells Sanctuary. If this song doesn't make you want to lace up some leather boots and drive a motorcycle through a wall of fire, you might want to check your pulse because you're probably a ghost. Let's get into the grime and the glory. To understand this song, you gotta understand the band. These guys started out as Southern Death Cult, then just Death Cult. They were the poster children for the UK goth scene. They were tribal, they were spooky, and they were very serious artists who probably spent a lot of time in cemeteries. And then in Asbury, the shamanic frontman who looks like he was born in a storm, and Billy Duffy, the guitar god who probably sleeps with the White Falcon, decided they were bored with the shadows. They wanted to rock, and they wanted big stages. They dropped the death from the name, smart move for radio guys, and became the Cult. They traded the Batcave vibes for pure, unadulterated swagger. They were looking for a sound that felt like Led Zeppelin having a seance with the Doors in a haunted disco. And man, did they strike oil. Alright, let's get into the deep dive gearhead stuff, because this is where the magic happened. You know that opening riff, that shimmering sparkle? Listen. That sound feels like a jet engine made of glitter. Billy Duffy walked into the Olympic Studios in London, the same place where Hendrix and the Stones recorded, and he brought his White Falcon. Now, if you don't know, the White Falcon is the Cadillac of guitars. It's huge, it's white, it's gold-plated, and it's cool as hell. That iconic sound was actually a massive fluke. Billy had a Boss flanger, a delay pedal, and a chorus pedal all turned on at the same time. Usually that's a recipe for a muddy mess, but he hit those chords and the sound just bloomed. The producer Steve Brown supposedly jumped out of his chair and yelled, "Whatever the hell you just did, do not touch a single knob. Record that now." They captured that swirling psychedelic sanctuary sound basically in one afternoon. It wasn't planned, it was just a band finding their soul in a mess of patched cables and electricity. Now let's talk about She Sells Sanctuary. In Asbury's a wild cat, man. He's all about Native American mysticism, spirit animals, and being a rock and roll shaman. While the lyrics feel like a spiritual journey, the head and the heart, the sun and the moon, there's a much more human side to it. The mid-80s London club scene was a den of iniquity, folks. In has admitted the song was inspired by the intense, chaotic, and physical energy of the nights out. Sanctuary wasn't a church with stained glass. It was the feeling of losing yourself in someone else's arms while the world outside was going to hell in a handbasket. It's a song about sex, spirit, and finding a place to hide from the madness. It's the reason why 40 years later, every club in the world still blows the roof off when the track hits the speakers. It touches the primal nerve. You know what I mean? You think you're a perfectionist? The Cult recorded She Sells Sanctuary and then proceeded to absolutely lose their minds. They were so convinced this was the one that they did 15 different mixes of the song. 15, man. They were obsessed. They kept trying to make it bigger. Then more dancey, then more rocky. They spent thousands of dollars and dozens of hours tweaking the knobs. And after all that work, they realized they had overproduced the life out of it. They went back and listened to the very first rough mix they did, the one where Billy's guitar was just screaming and N was howling into the mic, and realized that was the magic. The version you hear on the Love album is the raw, uncut energy of the band that knew they were about to conquer the planet. Sometimes the first take is the only take that matters. Now fast forward to 2012. This goth rock anthem from the 80s shows up in a Budweiser commercial during the Super Bowl. Can you imagine a song about selling Sanctuary being used to sell beer to 100 million people? And that's the power of this riff. It's universal. It's been covered by everyone from punk bands to pop stars, and it never loses its edge. It's made the goths dance and the metalheads nod their heads. It was the bridge that brought the alternative world into the mainstream without selling its soul. And here are my final thoughts. She Sells Sanctuary is more than just a song. It's a vibe. It's a feeling of putting on your favorite jacket, walking into a room, and knowing you're the baddest person there. It's the sound of the 80s growing up and getting a little dangerous. That's it for today's trip into the cult of rock. Go find your own sanctuary tonight, whether it's in a club, a car, or just in your headphones. I'm Joey Morgan, and this has been Music History. Keep it sexy, keep it rocking, and for the love of all things fuzzy, keep your hands off the flanger pedal, man. I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.